We are live here. What's up, Jack? Yep, Llama Talk. This is our third episode, and we're going to recap episode 7 of Survivor, the murder episode. So, Jack, how long do we want this podcast to be this time?
I mean, I don't care. I mean, we can try to make it 30 minutes. We can try to make it 45 minutes. We can talk about Survivor for days, so...
Yeah, we'll try to make it a little shorter than last month. I know we were trying to make it shorter last time, and we kind of failed. But let's just get right into the episode. Let's just go for it right off the bat. So, did anything really stand out for you in the scenes of the next episode? I mean, we said goodbye to Dale, and that was really sad to see him go. I got some, flashbacks from last episode when I was crying, seeing him leave. So, was there anything in the scenes in the last episode that caught your eye, Jack?
I mean, just the fact that we got, perspective from Keith, kind of.
Yeah.
And it was more like, they showed it how, they wronged Keith, and they kind of threw Keith under the bus. Like, he would have been, if he had gone home, they wouldn't really have cared,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
Anyway,
yeah,
go ahead.
I mean, they back that up afterwards, and, when they get back to camp and everything, so.
Yeah, they set it up nicely for, Keith flipping over to join Wes. And I just wanted to say before we get into it more, anybody watching, leave your comments. We'll comment back. We like interacting with anybody who takes time out of their day to watch this podcast. And also, we created a Twitter account where I'm going to be tweeting funny things. Apparently, Jack, the Twitter handle FarmGuy9 was already taken by someone. So our Twitter's at Talk Llama. Yep, Talk Llama is. I had to settle for that instead of FarmGuy69, which was very disappointing.
We should have done Llama Talk 69. That would have been
I don't know. the best one that was taken was that I could get was Talk Llama. So follow Talk Llama. We're gonna post some funny pictures and funny tweets relating to the episode while we're watching it. We probably watch it a few hours after you guys watch it because we're in college and we don't have cable, so we have to wait for it to go up online to watch it. But we'll try and get some funny tweets on around when the episode airs. So follow it and there'll be some funny tweets. But let's get right back into the episode. So the first thing after we have the whole recap from last episode is Missy explaining Keith their move to vote for him. And basically the only thing Keith says in response is first he's pissed for a very good reason, and he says he just wishes he would have known. So what do you think was the best move for Missy to break the ice to Keith? And how do you think she went about this? Was it good or bad?
First off, best way for her to break the ice with Keith, not that. You don't tell someone, we're going to vote, she said, we were just trying to flush the idol. You have to understand and stuff. And, Baylor's backing her up, thinking it's, a good thing. It's that's, you just told the dude that you were going to vote him out. That's not the way you want to break the ice to someone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like if Missy and Baylor are going to make that move to kind of throw Keith under the bus to save themselves, they shouldn't expect him to come back on board. That was a risk. If they wanted to have Keith fully on their side, they would have just taken the risk and gone 5 votes strong towards Dale and just hope Dale voted for Keith or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Keith is absolutely right for saying that he's done with them. I'm glad that Keith sees right through that bullshit,
Yeah, I was so happy for Keith in that part. I was just fuck them. you know what to do. And like if they had gone to the tribal, I actually kind of wanted them not to merge yet and go to tribal again, and for him to like use this idol or something, like totally blindside one of them. That would have been awesome, but I don't know.
Yeah, and it's nice because like, you know, a lot of times in Survivor, Big Brother, you see like contestants just go to someone, and it's just like not fun to see. Like in Big Brother, you know, Zach always just kept on like liking Frankie even after Frankie was horrible to him, and like Wu went right back to Tony, and all of Tony's alliance members went right back to him after he flipped. And even though Tony, you know, had better reasoning than what Missy gave, I think it's like satisfying for viewers to see Keith kind of stand up for himself and not just go, you know, crawling to whoever is kind of in power, you know?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's so annoying to see like nothing like shake up the game. You know, you want someone to like take a stand and like make a big move, and it's like cool to know that Keith is someone that could do that possibly. You know.
Yeah.
Also, with what Missy should have done, I don't know. Like, what do you think Missy should have done there in that situation?
Well, what Missy should have done is if Missy thought that an idol was going to be played, she should have, first of all, convinced Dale not to play the idol, and maybe ask Dale to join an alliance and say they're all going to vote off Keith because we don't want him joining back with Wes and we think they're a huge threat. Just make sure that Dale is the one to vote for Keith. So if Dale does play an idol, his vote is for Keith. And I feel like if Missy was going to throw 2 votes at Keith, there's no recovering from that, and she should just accept the consequences of Keith being pissed. You know?
Well, I mean, like, the problem is, like, the middleman was John. So, like, he voted for Missy, and, like, I mean, I don't think there was a way for her to, like, really flip the script at Tribal Council, but I think she definitely could have, like, done something to, like, ease the blow on Keith or something, you know? Not just, like, directly throw Keith under the bus. But, I mean, it was 2 couples versus, like, 1 single, so, like, how else could they have done it? So.
Yeah. Anyway, so then right after that, we get a message that the merge is coming, and Josh is regretting them not getting Jeremy out, which is kind of weird because last episode we didn't even see them entertain the idea of throwing the challenge to get Jeremy out. So do you think that would have been a good idea for them to throw the challenge to make sure Jeremy goes home?
I mean, I don't think it was really necessary. You never really like want to throw a challenge, you know.
Yeah.
They didn't have to get Jeremy out, you know, and like they still like. I don't know, like it possibly could have been a threat in the future, you know, keeping Jeremy around and stuff, and like it is in this episode. Like, oh my god, like they're always talking about how it's like $1 million like decision. Like this whole entire episode, they like say that so many times, and I mean, like, let's face it, it's like $600K after Obama takes it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. Giants.
No, but yeah, I think that I don't know. I feel like them having Dill in the game and Jeremy out of the game would definitely be better for the majority alliance that was controlling Hunaba at the time for, you know, Josh and Reed, because in this island, it was, I mean, in this episode, there was like a great chance of John and Jacqueline swinging over to Jeremy's side and Josh being the one voted off. But I guess like we'll only be able to tell if it was a bad move not getting out Jeremy at the time next episode, I guess, or, you know, when one of them gets voted off.
I mean, also, I think Jeremy did a good job, like he said, taking a backseat to Josh and Reed. Like, he really, like, minimalized his threat by doing that, and, like, he wasn't, like, a target right off the bat, because they're like, oh, look at Jeremy. Like, he's, like, he has no numbers, you know, we totally could have taken him out. And that's why Josh is so surprised this episode, you know, seeing Jeremy actually play the game and stuff. Yeah.
But I think that Josh knew that Jeremy's the one. the only other person on the island that's really given him a run for his money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we get to the merge scene, and it's a pretty funny. It's a pretty funny scene where John says to Jacqueline that they can date because they both made the merge. So, Jack, would you date someone who didn't make the merge?
If they didn't make the merge?
Yeah, would you still date them?
No, I dumped their ass.
Of course. You have to.
I mean, Hayden even did it himself. I mean, you know, he's not dating Kat anymore, so.
Dude, John is the way John talks. Like, it seems like all of his episodes, he's acting like an immature 10-year-old, and he's just screaming about food. He's basically the male version of Kat.
I can see that, yeah. Jacqueline seems a little more like to have like a better head on her shoulders, kind of, you know? But I feel like John's being edited better. I don't know. But.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, so everyone's psyched for the food, but, you know, we see a scene with Julie here where Julie's just talking about how much she misses John. And in all of her post-game interviews, she's been saying that she would play the game again, even though she quit. Screwed her up with the whole blood versus water thing. It pisses me off too.
It's like, you're not going to get asked back. You quit. You're not going to get a second chance. You quit.
Yeah.
That was your one chance.
And, like, I don't feel sorry for it. You signed it for blood versus water. Don't say, like, oh, yeah, I was so sad because I saw John and Jacqueline hugging and kissing all the time, and it made me miss John even more. And, yeah, that's definitely not cool. But what did you think about, like, the, you know, the strategy talk between, like, the, you know, that post-merge, like, the Jeremy Missy strategy talk and the Josh and Reed and even the Jeremy and John talk? What do you think about all this strategy talk that happened right after the feast?
I mean, I just love to see, like, Josh and Jeremy go at it, finally. You know? They're like, I feel like they've been added as the two best players on the island and the two best players this entire season. And, I mean, it was just, it's fine. It's refreshing to finally get some, like, action going, you know? Not just, like, someone making a fake idol or, like, someone doing a challenge. You know, it's refreshing to see some strategy actually go on. And, I mean, I don't know. It reminded me of, like, Aris and Terry, kind of, that whole rivalry. I don't think we've had, like, a rivalry like this in a long time. And I hope, like, they both stay around for a long time. But, strategy-wise, I mean, there wasn't really much to it, you know? It was all, like, you know, Missy was already with Jeremy and stuff. Josh just didn't see, like, he didn't have numbers before. And, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like rarely we have on a season like two such equally matched and equally edited opponents that are going right after each other. Normally, like last season in Kagan, it was like Tony and then a bunch of people kind of throwing sticks at him, and kind of same with like Tyson in the season before. And most of the seasons, it's kind of like there's a front runner, and then there's that really likable guy like a Hayden or Spencer or Malcolm that tries to give them a run for their money. But we all know that it's a huge uphill battle. But for this season, rarely do we have two such obvious heads of an alliance with all the minions underneath them just going at each other. And I kind of like that Julie quit because it does delay this for a week. It does buy them some time. It does kind of raise the suspense. Yeah. But I definitely hope, you know, we see an explosive episode next week where they go at it.
I mean, it's so weird because next episode, you know, the dynamics could change so much. You don't know. That may have been, like, their one chance to get each other out. You know, they said, like, the battle of sexes is, like, next episode, which, like, the girls are totally down in numbers. And, like, I don't know. Like, the dynamics could just change. Like, one tribal council, 3 days, things can change. You know? So the Julie quit may have prolonged it, but ultimately, I would have liked to have seen what happened at Tribal Council, and I wish Julie hadn't quit because like that does like that like throws the whole game up in the air, you know?
Yeah. What do you think about like? I know that I don't like when people quit, obviously, but I don't like when like Keith absolutely like there's no reason for him to have immunity. Like if he has to give back the necklace, it's like kind of in token dreams when Tyson won the first individual immunity and then the guy just got medically evacuated, so they skipped tribal council. You have to give it right back. Do you feel like there should be like two immunities? Like Keith gets automatic immunity to the next tribal council. Do you think that is a potential rule that they could have in the Survivor rulebook now? Because I feel like that'd be good, and it'd be, add another kind of twist to the game.
Well, I mean, the thing is, that was like they did lose someone. So like by losing Julie, like Keith was immune and stuff, and
But everyone was
I don't
immune.
think I know, but I just don't think they should do like that sucks for Keith kind of, but still he would have been safe at tribal council, and I don't think they should I mean someone is gone, someone's like down a number, so like,
Yeah, I feel like I feel like
the games
go ahead.
change, the games change, so
Yeah.
I feel like that it's fair kind of, but it's not. It's not fair for Keith, but I don't think they should have like two immune people next tribal.
Yeah, I feel like Julie's quit had like really bad like consequences for many people in the game, and that could really come to haunt Jeremy. He could lose the game because of it. So yeah, I guess thinking about it, Keith's immunity doesn't mean that much because he wasn't going anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
And he probably won't be going anywhere next week. What do you think about the new tribe name, Huyopa? Do you think that's not that creative, or do you think it's classic? Hashtag Huyopa.
It's like it's it's Hoyopa. Like it's not very creative. They could have done better.
Do you think there's been any? I don't think there's been any good hashtags this season. There was hashtag Spy Shack last year. Hashtag Coconut Bandits. I guess they could have done Rice Bandits for Jeff this year.
Yeah. Jeff steals all the rice. He's just like, he doesn't even need to eat it. He just like puts it like on this like little stand in his trailer with all these lights on it just to display it and be like, they're not eating this right now.
Yeah, anyway, I don't think that the hashtag has any business being on the tribe flag. But what about the scene after? I thought that it was a really funny scene where Keith forgot Wes's birthday.
Yeah. I like how Keith is like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. It's all good now. Yeah. You got him a crab. Oh, nice.
Yeah, Wes and Keith are really becoming my favorite team still in the game because, I feel like they're underdogs, and I feel like no one expects them to do as well as they are doing. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just like, I mean, Keith's doing an amazing job this year. He might not have a clue about what he's doing, but he's keeping that idol secret, and he's, winning challenges, and everyone likes him a lot, and everyone thinks he's funny. So I think they're both doing, really good in the game.
I mean, it's hard to tell from Wes's perspective because we don't really like get a lot from him, But yeah. I definitely agree. Keith is like doing amazing. He's playing that. Behind the scenes, we know he's playing a dominant role, but everyone else thinks like, oh, Keith, he's so easy. We can get him out next week. And like when they get down to like final 6 or something, I bet he'd still be there. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if, mark my words, they're the last couple that's still in the game.
I feel like there's a very good chance of that happening. So before the challenge, Josh is trying to solidify his numbers. So he already has, Alec, Wes, Yeah.
Sorry, there's a little hiccup there. What did you say?
Josh already has himself Reed, Alec, Wes, and Keith. So he wants to pull either Missy or Baylor or John and Jacqueline in, and he kind of reads Baylor. And what do you think about Josh's strategy in this scene?
I think it was funny, where like you had like Josh and Baylor walking, and then like you had Reed and like Keith walking behind. It's like they're like doing a sales pitch on the walk or something together. It's like I think I was surprised that Baylor reacted to it the way she did, where she was so emotional about it, and she was surprised kind of in herself that she had to turn down Josh. But I mean, Josh is completely right. Baylor got under the influence of her mother, and her mother's really running her game for her now. And I don't think Josh would have had much luck with getting Baylor's vote anyway. So I think it was right to like kind of turn towards John and Jacqueline, where you might have like a better shot. But I mean, it's good to know that Josh is actually like playing the game. He's not just
Baylor.
It's like he's not.
Yeah,
just
Baylor did a horrible job. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay, I'll talk. I feel like Baylor should have gone. Like Baylor should have seen this coming. She should have anticipated Josh trying to come and coerce her vote from her. So I feel like Baylor should have gone to Josh and said, like, "Are we still cool? Like, I'm with you. Like, I really need you," and really did a better sales pitch rather than acting so flustered and basically playing it horribly like she did. Like, I mean, anybody could have seen through that, and I think Josh did a good read on it. And John and Jacqueline do a much better job of assuring, like, saying, like, "I'm on board, Josh. Like, let's do this." Like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, you're right. John and Jacqueline do a better job of, securing the alliance. Do you think that, like, Missy thinks that her alliances with, like, Jeremy are more important than Baylor's alliances with Josh and stuff?
Yeah, I do. I think that Missy really puts like really leads her and Baylor's like along in the game, And I feel like Baylor kind of just lets her drive, I don't really think Baylor has much say in it because, Missy seems to like to take control of like Baylor's decisions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Baylor likes to let her, and it's such a weird dynamic. Like, it really creeps me out, kind of, just like this weird dynamic they have together. I feel like, I'm not sure, like, I feel like they don't spend a lot of time together outside the game. Like, that's what I'm kind of getting, because, like, she seems to, like, I don't know, they seem to, like, be, like, really pumped about being together, I don't know, like, more pumped than, like, John and Jacqueline, And
yeah, I would love for Baylor and Missy to kind of clash a little bit, and to have Baylor be like, "You know what, like, you don't control my game. Like, I don't know Jeremy, I don't know Natalie, I don't know Julie, I don't know these people. I'm not tight with them. I'm tight with Josh. I think we should go with him. Wes and Keith are upstanding guys." Oh, what'd you think about, Josh's pitch for Baylor to come over? Because he's like, Jeremy is a firefighter. Jeremy's a firefighter. Everyone's gonna vote for him. Like, but they have 2 firefighters in their alliance. And I think the fact that they're Broadway stars, it's like nothing to. They're trying to like very strong.
Yeah, I am. I mean, Josh kind of did the right thing. I think where like he did as much as he could. He rubbed his guilt or like rubbed Baylor and like made her like all Like he didn't like rub her the wrong way, you know. He backed off when he needed to, and like, you know, he made her feel guilty, you know. I think in a sense he still does have her in the game, just he doesn't have it right now, you know.
Yeah. So then we get to this weird scene where Julie stole the trail mix and everyone found it, and then they're pissed at her. But there wasn't really any fallout. Like, so how do you think that whole scene went down?
I mean, I think it was funny, and I hated how Julie got such a like got such an easy like, you know. Seems like Jeff Probst kind of just like let her quit and stuff, and like, I don't know.
Yeah, she definitely had it really easy. But let's get right into the immunity challenge. What did you think about the challenge? Do you think it was a cool challenge?
I know it was a fast challenge. It wasn't very cool, but I guess it was a standard merge challenge. You know, it was just bounce a ball and stuff. But, I don't know, endurance.
So round one, we have Jeremy, Missy. Well, Jeremy gets out first, and then Missy and Julie right after. And then we got Reed, Baylor, Alec, Jacqueline, and Natalie all dropping before the last round. And then it comes down to Josh, John, Wes, and Keith. And I don't know if you saw it, I tweeted about it, but when Josh dropped, Jeremy had the creepiest smile in the whole world on his face.
Yeah, I know. He had like this really intense look on his face, and then all of a sudden when Josh dropped, he like had this really weird like smile, just closed mouth smile, you know? I don't know.
It was almost like the smile in Survivor Token Chains when Erin realizes she's gonna stay because Jerry's sick, and Coach imitates the smile, and he's like, you know, it's really creepy.
Yeah.
But so much like the first, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to ask you, are you Team Josh or Team Jeremy?
Oh, I'm definitely Team Josh. Because I feel like, you know, it's hard to root for Jeremy when he's bitching all the time and complaining. And, I mean we don't have much better games, same on strategic department. So in terms of likability and, like, genuinely, like, who I think I'd rather see win, I think I'd rather see Josh. Plus, I see Josh's game moving forward much more interesting to watch because they'll be like him and Reed, John and Jacqueline, Wes and Keith. But then, you know, I think eliminating a few singles will make it more interesting for people like Alec to make swing votes and big moves. And I feel like I just see his game moving forward as more entertaining than Jeremy's game moving forward. Plus, I feel like if Jeremy gets anywhere close to winning, we'll just have to and say how much better he is. And I don't think we'll have to hear that from Josh. I think he'll be humble.
Yeah. I mean, I really like Jeremy. I really like the way he's playing the game, kind of, because that's you know, that's the dominant role. Like, you want to be able to control everyone, you know, and I think that's interesting. But at the same time, I can see how that makes like something really, really boring. And like, I mean, I love the way Josh is playing too, but you know, Jeremy bitches a lot too. Like, I don't know, but I think ultimately I'm Team Jeremy, so we'll see who wins.
Yeah. So anyway, just like the first Blood versus Water, the merge episode of that season, when the immunity challenge came down to Ours versus Vetus, this one comes down to Wes versus Keith, and Keith pulls it off. What was your reaction when Keith won? I was shocked.
I was pumped. I mean, I was happy. You know, it was weird because you can see everyone was happy. You know, even like Wes was like so happy. He had like such a big smile on his face. And I mean, I'm pumped for Keith. You know, that's awesome. You know. Also, do you think?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you think that Keith and Wes are the new Aris versus Vetus? You think Keith is like the Aris and Wes is like the reformed drug addict?
No, I feel like, just looking at Alec and Drew, they should have been not necessarily the Ars versus Vetus, but kind of like the scrappy little brother, which even though Vetus was older, that's kind of the role he did, kind of the underdog versus the bigger guy. And I mean, they just floundered. They weren't interesting to watch. They both kind of have like, Alec has this really annoying way of talking where it seems like he's struggling to talk almost. He's always like, wiggling his body. I don't know. And I think that they're too similar also, Alec and Drew. And I feel like Aris and Vetus were very distinct characters. And I feel like that's how the Blood versus Water season should be. They should be, some combination of them gives you something, but them apart are also very interesting characters. And, Aris and Vetus are pretty awesome, in my opinion. I don't think there's an Aris and Vetus this season.
I don't know. I mean, we might get down to another endurance challenge between the two, and Wes might be like, he got all the ladies in high school. He was the better one, I have to live up to this. And
okay, is there like screaming going on in the background of my room?
Yeah.
There's tons of screaming. There's annoying. My dumbass roommates are playing fucking Mario Kart. I don't know how they got into this school. They're retards. Anyway, so what do you think about Keith? Keith always says like, I'm not quite ready to turn over the reins to Wesley, and he always talks about these reins and stuff. And I don't know what exactly he means by that. Like, is he not ready to die, or is he like, what isn't he ready for? Because like, I mean, is he not ready to let Wesley like live his own life? I don't really know. What do you think that means?
Maybe they own like a family horse or something, and like he has the reins to it. And he doesn't want to give it up, or I don't know.
That's like the fifth time that we've heard that this season from him, and I'm just like, what are they talking about?
Yeah. I mean,
anyway, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I still think the best comment we got from the two is when Keith was like, "Yeah, your belt is mentally strong as that rock."
Yeah. Keith and Wes are definitely, I don't know, definitely my favorite pair right now.
Yeah, I agree. I hope they last the longest, to be honest. I mean, there are people I like from the pairs right now. Like, I like Josh, but I don't really like Reed. But like, as terms of pairs, I really like both of them. I think they're a good dynamic.
Yeah. So we get after the challenge, Jeremy, whines about being out first. And because there always has to be something to bitch about.
He's just a bitchy guy. He's a bitchy guy.
Do you think at this point that, in terms of a winner's edit, Josh and Jeremy both have been getting a lot of airtime, and I guess you could kind of think of Jeremy edit as being a winner's edit, but I feel like they do have him complaining a lot, and I feel like they don't really have that from Josh. Do you feel like anything that we're seeing from Jeremy diminishes his winner's edit?
From Jeremy?
Yeah, like all the bitching, all the whining, all like kind of the arrogant talk.
I mean, Jeremy is very controlling, and like you can kind of see that through the edit, and he's kind of power hungry. He doesn't like taking the back seat, but he knows he has to. He doesn't like talking to Julie, but he knows he has to. And I can kind of see that kind of character having the downfall really close to the end, So.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. What do you think about the cast as a whole at this point? We're 7 episodes in. we feel like we should have the characters, like, by episode 7 of last season, we saw all the characters kind of fill their role, at least by the merge. You know, we had Chaos Cast, Spencer was clearly the underdog, Tony was crazy. We had all these things kind of funneling in, and even the season before, and in most of these seasons, they kind of funnel into their right character. And do you think that's happening for this season? Because I'm still disappointed with the cast members at this point.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think we can compare this cast to last season. I mean, last season
we can compare it to
was
the
amazing.
Cast before.
The cast before.
But we can at least compare it to the first Blood versus Water. And I just feel like, you know, there's no funny guy this season. The only people that are funny are unintentionally funny, which it's funny to watch sometimes when Keith or Wes says something stupid, or, you know, when something happens. But we don't have Tyson doing wisecracks, or, you know, and I don't know. I just feel like, and there isn't like a strong female, you know, opponent or strategic person in this game like Sierra was. And I feel like this is just a very generic, male-dominated season. Whereas the first Blood versus Water, you could argue that was, even though Tyson ran things and Hayden was making moves strategically, you could argue that was probably one of the best showings from women in the history of Survivor. You know, obviously probably not Parvati in Fans versus Favorites, and there's been some good female winners and stuff, but you had Monica winning challenge for challenge, Laura winning challenge, and Tina entering the game, Sierra making moves, and I feel like this cast of women is pretty disappointing.
Well, I mean, we're still only at the merge. You know? And Sierra didn't really fill her role until she voted her mom out, which was was that like 3 episodes into the merge? And so I still feel like we have to give them some time. But you're right, I agree with you. Like, right now, like, the only person that disappointed me merge Blood versus Water and not really getting a character was Caleb. And I would have liked for him to get a character. But this episode, we seem to have like 4 Calebs. You know, like Wes, Reed, Natalie. Like, where was Natalie and where were Alec? You know, I definitely agree with you that people haven't filled their roles, but I hope they do down the road. You know, I hope they do. So.
Yeah, because I'm just like feel like I'm just watching just Survivor, and there's none of the extra nuances of Survivor that I love. Like, there's no really funny confessionals. There's no, you know, really strategic, smart people, no mastermind confessionals. It's just like they're going through the process, like, oh, they're talking about a merge feast, oh, they're talking about the vote, but none of it's funny, none of it's really that smart. And I just kind of like pushing, like, oh, like, just give me, you know, a little bit more. But hopefully maybe one of them will. I think, like, Jeremy's trying really hard also, and I feel like that's also apparent in his confessionals. Because he's like trying to convince us that he's a mastermind, even though he has to show us.
Yeah. Do you think that Jeremy ever bitches in like this much in real life? Like, I have to go fight fire. Like, fire's so stupid. I want to do this. I just saved someone. This is so stupid. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Val probably has him, you know, a little bit whipped. So I don't think he can get away with it at home. So he can whine a little bit more now that Val's gone.
You know, I was watching his secret scene, and one of them he was talking about how like he like has such a big sweet tooth, and like apparently everyone got really sick after the merge feast, and like because they like ate way too much. But anyway, I was like watching Jeremy's confessional, and it seems like they're using like all of his best confessional, and the rest of them are just really boring. Like, it was like completely boring. So I guess unless he's bitching, he's not really like saying anything like interesting.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like like they are. I'm convinced they're showing the best confessionals from everybody because they're gonna take what they can get at this point. And seeing everyone's secret scenes and stuff after, like they're not that interesting. They're not that well spoken. And people like Spencer. Like Spencer last season, honestly, he was given like if Spencer made it in 8th place and Jeremiah made it in 4th place, Spencer wouldn't have gotten nearly as good of an edit as he did. But the reason why they were able to give him such a good edit is because he was at least saying some entertaining things throughout the season. I don't feel like they're even giving the producers enough ammunition to make them look smart, which isn't that hard in the editing room.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I remember just never mind.
So anyway, let's get right into Julie quitting. And quitters always make me mad. What do you think about this quit?
She got it off way too easy. Just like Lindsay last season, I feel like Jeff Probst has really dialed down on quitting in recent seasons, and he just lets it happen. I mean, you could tell he was trying to convince her, being like, "Oh, you're at a summer camp" and stuff like that. But he gave her way too easy of a time for it. But I like how editing edited it so it's oh yeah, she was really selfish, and she was it's so stupid.
Yeah, at least for Lindsay's quit last season, it was a little bit more entertaining, and at least it was at the beginning of the episode, so we still got a tribal council, and we still got the episode. But I feel like Jeff, in the whole season preview thing after the premiere, when they're this season on Survivor, and they show the clip of Jeff saying "Are you quitting this game?" Jeff has to realize that this is basically the only entertaining thing that's happening today because we're not going to tribal council. So I feel like he should not only rip Julie to shreds because she quit, because it's a horrible thing to do for anybody who wants to be on the show to see someone quit. That's horrible. But just because there's no tribal council, they have to do something to entertain us,
Yeah, I know. And it pissed me off because we may never know who would have gone home at tribal council. They edited it so yeah, Jeremy was going home at the end, but we never know, and it's really interesting. It gets me pumped for next episode. I'm super pumped for next episode, to find out. So.
Yeah, I feel Julie should not have been on that show in the first place. From what I've heard from John Rocker and this, Survivor Live stuff, they were very hesitant to put Julie on the show anyway, and because they didn't think that she could handle it. And I feel like if they wanted Rocker on so bad, they could have waited till Survivor 30 or even Survivor 31 or Survivor 37 to put him on the show, rather than just because his girlfriend has big boobs, put her on the show now. It's really if there's any inclination that they might quit on the show.
I know, it's really disappointing. It really is, because that spot could have gone to someone so much more entertaining, and just the fact that she was able to give up so easily. I think she also did it out of spite of Missy. I don't think Missy realized what she was doing, but she was really pushing her away by being yeah, I'm here for you. Can you not do that for me? Can you last one more day? Can you do that for me? And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just
Julie just pisses me off so much.
Yeah. She's she bring no entertainment besides they couldn't even find one good entertaining thing she brought besides a number. That's all they kept saying is, "Oh yeah, she's a number. She's a number. She's a number." And that's true in Survivor, but she brought no entertainment either. So I guess she just was a number.
Yeah, and in Julie's Survivor Live interview, she's when she says she'd do the game again, and then Jeff says even if it rained for 20 days in a row, and then she's Probably not. Like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, quitting shouldn't be an option. Like, if Jeff told me it was gonna hail for 39 days in a row, and I'm gonna be this season's gonna take place, and it's like some fucking place with really cold rain, and it's gonna be miserable, I'd be like, okay, sign me up. Like,
Yeah.
and that's how all 16 to 20 people on the cast should be, because it shouldn't be like, I mean, and even in the Survivor Live interview, she's like, oh yeah, the whole point of the season of going on the show was so John could have the chance to, you know, show his new self on TV and showcase how he isn't a bigot and he isn't a horrible person. And she didn't even care. And she's like proud of herself for lasting 21 days. I don't even think they put someone on the show who even had any intention of going the 39 days.
She lasted 18 days. That's like, if you think about it, that's nothing, you know? It's so stupid. It's so stupid. You know it was just for John Rocker and everything. And like, once he got voted off, they were so like, I feel like they were so easy to let her go, you know? I don't know. It was a waste of a spot. John Rocker was a waste of a spot too, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I'd be okay with them casting John Rocker on an all-new prison season and, you know, just let him get voted off third then. I just feel like doing this thing where you have, you know, this blood versus water thing, and you cast one person that you really want, and then kind of just put in the meh type of loved one. It's just not good for casting, because they have people like Drew and John Rocker, and they just put like the little kind of not really much going on loved ones on the show, and then we're just left thinking like, oh god, like, okay.
They should be like, yeah, new season of Survivor, Cook Islands 2. We'll have returning player John Rocker. That would have been
so. So, do you think that any of the loved ones in this season sent a joint Survivor audition tape that was specific for Blood versus Water?
I think they did. I think they have to. I mean, I think.
I mean, like, before being recruited and before being contacted.
Any of the loved ones? I think.
Do you think anybody on the show? Dale?
Didn't Jeremy and Val both apply, or they weren't recruited, right?
I don't know. All I know is that Jeremy has applied himself for the show like over 10 times. So I assumed he like applied alone again. And I know that Dale raced and then got moved over. And I know that, you know, John Rocker, Drew, and Wes, they all got on the show, and then they brought their loved one in. Like, they were the only ones that auditioned. And I guess Missy and Baylor maybe, but I think it'd be really disappointing if Jeff specifically asked for people to send in joint Survivor tapes for a Blood versus Water season, and to have no one in the pool of applicants be chosen for the Blood versus Water season.
I mean, I think.
But anyway, yeah.
I think Reed and Josh must have sent in like independent tapes. I think they're big enough fans to do that. You know. Also, you know, Wes obviously got on for his good looks. So I mean, I'm not questioning that one.
This isn't the Goblin impersonation show. I don't. Sorry. Anyway, so the scenes for the next episode. How do you see things shaking out? It looks like it's guys versus girls because, you know, Alec and Keith are being mean to Baylor and stuff, and Jacqueline.
It was so weird though, because they're such like they were mean to Baylor in such different ways. You know, it's like on one we see like Alec boss Baylor around, and it's like, yeah, Alec is definitely wrong there. But in like the other sense, we see Keith bossing Baylor around, and like Keith like needs help with the wood, and Baylor's just laying down.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think.
I feel
What do you
like
think's gonna happen?
I don't know. Hopefully, I'm biased, but I think that in terms of John and Jacqueline being the swing vote, it is smartest strategically for them to side with Wes and Keith and Josh and Reed, because if they side with Missy and Baylor and then the 3 singles, there is no way in hell the 3 singles will let those 4 and those 3 get down to 7 just so the 4 can team up with them. But if you side with Josh and Reed and Wes and Keith, you just need 1 vote. Oh, they already have the numbers. They already have 6. It's going to be down to 11. And they can actually ride that down to the 6. And that's much more realistic. That's in everyone's best interest to ride that down to the 6. I feel like strategically, John and Jacqueline should go with Josh and Reed. But, they're not the brightest bulbs. I don't think they're that smart. So it's really up in the air. I think it'd be stupid if any of this guy versus girl, Alec and Keith, pissing off Baylor and Jacqueline. I don't see why that should have anything to do with it. I think they should be thinking strictly rational and strategic, but that probably won't happen.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Jacqueline's trying to go the other way, with Missy and Baylor and like the singles and stuff. I don't know. I'm really excited to see what happens, but I definitely agree with like what you say. I think it's in their best interest to definitely go with Josh and Reed, So.
Okay, so this was an infuriating episode with Julie quitting, but was there anything funny about it that we can give this trophy to?
Jeremy's creepy smile. I mean, it wasn't that funny of an episode.
It wasn't right. I'd say maybe Jeremy's creepy smile, John making that merge comment, the dating you because you made the merge. Maybe I thought it was kind of funny how Jeff literally came out of nowhere. Like the second Julie said like she might quit, like Jeff popped out of like a genie's lamp and just like ran over.
You think Jeff's a genie? Is that what you think? Do you think he might? I think we might be onto something. Like, they rub it before every challenge, and he comes out and like, okay, Jeff, you're giving a challenge now.
Yeah, Jeff's commentary during the challenge was kind of funny. I always, like he always says like, "Oh my god, amazing save," and like 1 second later the ball falls down anyway. And he's like, "Oh, sorry."
No, he's so delayed. I think you should definitely give it to his commenting. He's so delayed on that challenge where he's like, Reed cannot. He's like Reed's ball while he falls off. He's like Reed struggling. Reed cannot recover. Reed is out. It's like okay. Jeff.
Plus, like whenever the us being immature 5-year-olds, whenever Jeff's talking about like Jeremy's balls are moving up, the balls dropped up, Jeremy's big balls just dropped. It's always fun just talking about balls. So yeah. I think Jeff is consistently getting this trophy. Maybe if there was a Tyson on the season or someone like Tony who does funny stuff, we'd give it to them. But Jeff, once again, trophy for you. You're the funniest.
Yeah, that's a good. I agree.
Now, hopefully, Jeff can take this season that he packaged all the potential in this season and dragged it down the beach. So hopefully he can bring some of the potential back and this season can get a little bit better because I mean, I know we're comparing it to like the last few seasons, but I honestly feel like at this point, even not comparing it to Cagayan and Blood Rose Water, I still don't feel like this is that great of a season.
What season would you say this is the most like?
Maybe what do you think? I need to think on that for a sec.
I mean,
I'd say it could be a Gabon.
I mean, it's not. The thing about this is it isn't as dysfunctional as Gabon. I would love it to be, but I don't get a Gabon vibe from it. I kind of get more of a like Panama kind of vibe right now in terms of like entertainment and stuff. But I mean, Panama is like super entertaining, but like
in terms of still has Shane and a bunch of crazy people. I honestly feel like this is more of like maybe a South Pacific type of season or a Fiji even in terms of the cast, which is it's not saying much.
That's harsh. You're taking shots now. That's like straight up.
I'm taking shots. I'm saying up until this point, it could get a lot better, but I'm just saying like this cast. I mean, the way it's played out for Blood versus Water, there's going to be some drama. That's just how the Blood versus Water type of season is made to be. But I feel like the level of drama should be much, much more for Blood versus Water season. I feel like this cast is one of the worst in the history of Survivor. There's like the casting, I don't think was smart this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I hope it gets better too. I do, but we'll see.
And I'm hypercritical of Survivor because I like my Survivor with the best possible cast, and I know there's so many cool people out there that deserve to be on the show. So I'm not content with watching mediocre people on Survivor.
Yeah. I know.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure this podcast is an hour again. Maybe we're just meant to talk for that long. But is there anything more you want to say about the episode?
No, I mean, I hope that, the dynamic between Josh and Jeremy stays for a while, because that right now is the only thing that's really driving me to the season, but I don't know. That's it, basically.
Any chance of them teaming up, you think?
No, I don't think so.
I think it could be smart if they're just like, okay, you're right, we're controlling this game. Okay, we don't want to leave our fate up to dumbasses like John and Jacqueline, who convinced me that they're with us, and they probably convinced you of the same thing. How about we take our numbers, blindside John and Jacqueline, and maybe a few other, floaters, and take this down to the 8, then fight our battle there. Something could be said for that.
I mean, I would love to see, biggest competitions team up once in a while, but, Josh definitely has a... Yeah, I know. Josh and Jeremy both have a better chance at running the game all the way to the end if they get each other out. There's no... And, I don't know. Obviously, if, Jeremy teams up with Josh, he's going to have to compromise with keeping Reed around and stuff, so... Maybe if Reed's gone, I could see them teaming up.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, well, we'll just have to wait to see how it plays out. Anyway, so everyone follow us on Twitter. You don't have to follow us on Twitter. We're worthless. We don't matter. We're not going to even tell you our Twitter handles, but follow at Talk Llama, and we'll tweet funny stuff during the episodes. And be sure to keep watching and subscribe if you want, if you really like us. If not, just watching the video is huge. And, if you're not watching this podcast, watch Rob Has a Podcast, because, we live for that show. Isn't that right, Jack? We'll endorse them. I don't even care anymore.
Can we do that? Sure. Sure. Rob Has a Podcast is freaking amazing. Way better than our podcast. So
way better than our podcast.
Chances are, if you're watching this podcast, you probably watch our podcast.
That's probably true.
But go watch it again.
Go in the archives. Watch all of Tyson's interviews. Just listen to everything. Okay. Well, we should probably end this hangout. I'll see you later, Jack.
Hey, see you later.
Blah, 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 blah.